Hey folks, well, the Leafs have squeaked out a couple of big wins. They're up 6 over Tampa for second place with 6 games to go. Records are raining down. Matthews? We're going to break it all down for you right here on the OZone.
You're in the offensive zone, your place for Leafs hockey.
Hey folks, welcome to the OZone. That's Coach, that's Katie, and I'm the Devo. We're here to talk all things Leafs. Listen, before we get started, I just want to remind everybody, we love to hear from you. Give us your questions, give us your comments. You can put them right below in the video in the comments section. All right, the Leafs sure don't like to play bad teams all that great, but you know what? They like to play the Leafs really well. And the Leafs managed to pull out 4 points against some teams that were playing like it was Game 7 of the Cup, as far as I'm concerned. The Sens and Isles. Katie, what'd you see?
Well, it's no secret. I think the Sens, they circle the Leafs on the calendar. I think, unfortunately, I don't think the Leafs have quite the same approach when they play. Not sure if they have that same reverence for the game, but they hung in there. They stuck with it, as the coach said during the game, and they pulled out a W. I thought they looked pretty good last night against really a tough team on a back-to-back against the Islanders. I'm really pleased right now with the sort of the team effort. We're seeing contributions from all through the lineups. We're seeing much more help from the fourth line. We're seeing scoring through. I really like it. All the different combinations they're working with on defense seem to be working. And since they split up the band, since Tavares and Kerfoot and Nylander have been rotating onto different lines, all three, if you noticed, that all three have been great really the last 2 weeks. So my angst is as Coach puts it, is starting to decrease. We had a lot of snow here today in Toronto, so my angst is more with the weather than it is with the Leafs. And I'm just I'm just looking forward to more hockey. So let's keep it going.
Yeah, it's a great point. I walked up from downstairs and saw an inch of snow on the ground, and I actually wept for about 5 minutes. Coach, what have you seen over the last couple games?
What I've seen is 75 and sunny, fellas. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. Terrific weekend for us. 4 points out of 4, that's fine. Dominated in a lot of stretches of both games. So I thought it was great. Yeah, you're right. The Senators play us hard. They always do. Forsberg was great in net as well. But Shalgren found a way to win, even though he was outplayed. So that was good. He made enough saves. It was terrific. So I like that Saturday night game. And in the Islanders game, it was good news, bad news. I thought we dominated for many stretches of that. One of the things that's good is John Tavares has got to feel like he made the right choice. I made reference in the last pod to us hearing about Pajama Boy. Here's the picture. It's not his pajamas. It's his bed sheets, okay? So there he is. He made the right choice. You say what you want about his contract. I'm glad we had him. He's having a productive year. He's not going to score, 47 like he did his first year, but he's doing fine. And I thought Jack Campbell was outstanding. And he's been okay since he's come back, but he made every single save except this one. And here's Ilya Lyubushkin. They should put this picture, it should be taught at every level of minor hockey. This is a textbook screen. You can't even see Campbell here. Look at this screen. How's he supposed to stop that? Oh, and then this one here, Kerfoot puts it in his own net. So everything other than that, Campbell stopped. I think that's really good for us. He made some big saves. Started to hear Soup a lot. And hey, guys, I like our Swedes. Like all our Swedes are playing well. Yeah. So Nylander, 15 points in his last 10 games, and he's rolling, right? Engvall's got 8 points in his last 10 games. Liljegren, 4 points, but he's got 16 shots, and he's a +5 in his last 10. And in his last 10, Shalgren's 6-3-1. That's your backup. That's not Hutch. That's good stuff. Now, that's all good. Kev, you mentioned the angst meter. Here's the bad. Okay, so I was hanging with a couple of my buddies, Bubbles and Lavelle Crawford, and I heard the news Matthews was hurt and he wasn't going to play. So here were our reactions. This was Bubbles. He was not happy. And this was Lavelle Crawford. He was shocked too. This was me. I mean, I'm in the fetal position. We can't lose that guy. But look, if Jake Muzzin in his play and then he's back on the shelf again, they say it's not concussion related, but he's hurt again. If that got the angst meter to 6 out of 10, the angst meter just went up with Matthews out. Now, it's not quite, Nick Cage in Leaving Las Vegas, this guy here. It's not like, when it's 10 a.m. and the liquor store opens at 11. It's not that level of angst. I'd say it's more kind of like Breakfast Club angst, teen angst. They're trying to find your way, but it's up there. It's climbing. Look, guys, I may never leave the fetal position if Matthews doesn't play in the playoffs. That guy has to get healthy. I hope it's day to day. We got to get him back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to see both goalies getting wins. I don't love our goaltender play, but win's a win. And they haven't been badly outplayed, so that's good. Leafs are 8-1-1 in their last 10. They set a new franchise record for points, new franchise record for wins. That's special stuff, folks. They aren't catching Florida. Florida went 10-0 on that same stretch, so they're not catching them. But we beat a couple of bad teams, which we've had the hardest time doing of late. So that says something. And look, about 3 weeks ago, we mentioned that they were going to jig the lines up, and 88 started to maybe look like he was a bit more engaged. He's been on a bit of a tear since we made that call. So looky there. And the Leafs keep winning without Matthews. I don't know what the record is without him in the lineup, but I actually think it's probably pretty good. I still think Matthews is the MVP, but it's worth noting the Leafs seem to rally when he's not in the lineup. So we're getting close to it, guys. 6 games left. What do we need to see as we close out this stretch run here? Coach?
Matthews got to get healthy first and foremost, right? So 60 seemed like a foregone conclusion. At this point, I think it's just nice to have. Let's just get him back and get him comfortable. I don't care if he gets 60 or 65. I actually don't even care if he wins the Rocket. He's already won that thing, right? So I do care that he's ready to go game 1 because we need him.
Yeah.
So that's first and foremost. Kasha, Muzzin, maybe even Sandin, would love to see those guys play 1 or more games before the end. Now you're at your full complement, assuming everybody else stays healthy. I think if Jack Campbell keeps getting on a roll, that's what I'd like to see. And then finally, on the D pairs, they've done a good job of mixing and matching. I mean, the whole lineup was in a blender yesterday. Part of that was Matthews related. But on the back end, he's done a nice job of mixing guys. But the challenge has always been with Sandin and Muzzin out, Brody has to play the left side, right? Yeah. So one of those guys gets back. I would just like to see for at least one game, Giordano with Brody. Let's see if they can rekindle the old flame, just to see if we've got it. And I'd also like to see for one game, Hall with Riley. So we've seen Riley with Brody, works. Riley with Lyubushkin, works. Riley a little bit last night with Liljegren, worked okay. Let's see if we can go with Hall, because now you can do whatever. Guys are going to get dinged. On the broadcast last night, they said you don't need 6D in the playoffs. You don't need 7D. You need 8D, maybe 9D, right? Because guys are going to get banged up. I'd like to see those combinations.
Agreed. I agree with that last point 100%. I mean, obviously, you need to get Matthews back in the lineup, but I'd like to see Gio and Brody reunited. And Hall with Riley. It's the one experiment we haven't really seen much this year. KD, what are you thinking?
Yeah, so I'm just going to do a bit of nitpicking or a little fine-tuning as we go into the playoffs. We'll put, the Islander Nation has had a tough 2021-22 season. They lost probably the greatest in Mike Bossy in that franchise, and he was an incredible player, incredible goal scorer. Yeah, the guy had 9 seasons in a row of 50 or more goals. 4 of those were 60 plus. The 10th season, he had a bad back, which ended his career. He only scored 38 with a bad season. His lifetime shooting percentage was 21.2%. And which is like, it's crazy high numbers. Now, one thing he also never did was miss the net. I mean, that's one of the things he was great at. He never missed the net. Now, shooting percentages, goals scored based on shots on net. It actually should be goals scored based on total shots. And if we take a look, I was running some numbers, as I tend to do this afternoon. And one thing that you probably notice, our beloved Leafs, is they miss the net a lot. And if we take a look at all the top teams that we're going to play in the East, Toronto, they missed the net about 13.2 times a game. The only team that we might play is Carolina, who actually misses 14.2, which is a lot more. But Boston at 11.4, Florida at 11.2, and Tampa Bay at 12.5. They all missed the net less. So I like to see them starting to hit the net more. They've got a lot of finishers, but they fire the puck all over the place. So we want to have definitely more shots towards the net. And then another thing I've been watching for a while is Camp. And I love the guy, and I think he will be a big secret for this team's success in the playoffs. He is a matchup third line center. However, right now, he was last game, he was 2 for 12, and the game before that, he was 5 for 17. Now, it's important because he only takes a handful of draws outside his own zone. He's always in his own zone taking those faceoffs. And this year, he's been a 53% faceoff guy. He's well under that this last little while. I don't know if he's got bad wrists or he's hurt somehow, but to be a really good shutdown third center that we need in the playoffs, the guy to go in to take those draws in his own end, I want to see that number go up above 50. Like it'll be a big win if we can get him back to where he was. We need that.
Yeah, that's a great point, Kev. Well, listen, folks, this is when we do it. You know what we do right now. We're gonna make some predictions. We're gonna lay it all on the line here. I'm gonna put the schedule of the Leafs' last 6 up. Here it is. Obviously, we got the Flyers in town next, and then we go down to Florida for a couple. We don't have to do all the games, fellas. Start with Philly for sure, but let's get some predictions in. Katie, what are you thinking?
Well, I think you beat Philly. I think you go all in and try and beat Philly. If you do, you only have to win 1 of 2 in Florida. They did fine last time in Florida, but those are 2 tricky teams, and especially getting Florida in the back-to-back. I mean, that's just a killer. And I'm not sure if Florida's quite packed it in yet. They're rolling. So beat Philly for sure. You got to win that game, and then go 50-50 in the other 2, and you're fine.
Yep. All right. Good call, Coach.
So you mentioned Mike Bossy just passed right before the Leafs played the Islanders. The last time the Leafs played the Islanders, Clark Gillies had just passed.
Yeah.
And I predict Brian Trottier is very thankful that the Leafs don't play the Islanders again this year. So I'm going to predict Matthews sits out against Philly just in an overabundance of caution. Campbell's going to play, keep rolling, 5-1 win. Colin Spezza for 2 points. He's at 991. He's kind of stalled. He's got no points in his last 10, I think. The guy, I'd like to see that guy. It's a feel-good story. And then I'm also going to predict we're going to end up playing Tampa in the playoffs, and I'm going to one of those games. And it's easier for me to go in Tampa than Toronto. And looky here, I got this email from Tampa because I bought tickets when I went to that game. So apparently I'm on the preferred Tampa Bay. I get access to tickets a day early. So I'm going. Let's hope that we actually play them. Otherwise, I'm out 2 tickets.
Well, I tell you what, I think Matthews plays. I'm going to the game versus the Flyers. I think he's back in the lineup. I think they sat him for load management reasons. I think they're not going to be able to keep him out of the lineup. I think he's going for 60. I think he gets it against Philadelphia. I think the Tampa game will be a playoff type game. I think the Leafs win 3-2 in overtime. 88 scores it. There you have it, folks. We love having you. We love having you here, right here on the Ozone.